All right.
Bring you in, and then we'll go. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to NECC Esports. Today's matchup, we got everyone going for it, but my name is Infernosis, and I'm joined here by Unicorn. How you doing today?
Infernosis, I'm doing well. It's been a long night here for the NECC, but it's just getting started with two awesome teams. Hope you're doing as well as I am. Hope you're as excited to jump into this. Tell me a little bit about these two. Let's start off with the colleges that are going up against each other today in this division.
We've got Missouri Baptist facing off against Florida Atlantic. Like most people here would know, this is under the Champions divisional breakdown right now. So these two teams, fairly well and competent. They've got a lot going for them. All the matchups we've had today so far have been within Champions, so mostly the same level of skill. And we're definitely going to see how they face off. But I believe where we're starting off is actually Busan. So how do you feel about that?
With Busan, with you jumping into these control points, I think we're going to see, especially in these champions divisions, I think a lot of people can rely more on their mechanical skill, more on these comfort picks on how they're able to pop off, less meta reliant that you'll see in the higher divisions of play as we go further into the season. But jumping into it, I think we're going to see with these comfort picks maybe some Wrecking Ball. We saw some Marissa Sig on Dorado from what you casted earlier, but we're just going to have to see what they jump into. We'll get a look at Florida Atlantic here and see what they start off with. Anything you're specifically looking for as we jump into Mecha Base?
I mean, to be fair, having casted the match earlier, we did see a double Reinhardt kind of play here, so I'm expecting to see kind of the same style of strategy, kind of playing that do-si-do, rotating around the top. And kind of like you had touched on before, there is a meta that's kind of in play, and you will see a little bit of a subsection of different metas. But speaking of metas, we're going to talk about today's sponsor. Meta Pro Gaming is a full-service esport management, developmental, and consulting company. They provide their esport coaching, their management, arena design, and equipment, and you can find them all at metaprogramming.gg if you do want to learn more. Thank you very much, Meta, for the sponsorship. And let's get ready to jump right into this one. So, currently looking at for these sides, we do actually notice for MBU, they haven't selected everyone yet, but if we take a look over at, FAU, we are seeing the Reinhardt like I spoke about.
We definitely are, and I'll tell you what, besides the Reinhardt, I gotta look at IFE on the Bastion, but I'll tell you what, Caster Cursed already, he switches it up on the Reaper now, so we've got a full rush down for the side of the red team here. Blue team, however, we're looking at a Sigma Ball, definitely more meta-reliant, but we're seeing it paired with a Soldier and a Torb from Dunzo and Orbits. I'm excited to see how that plays out. Definitely a lot of high ground control that's going to want to come in as you see Spence immediately looking for a rollout. Wants to force out resources as he rolls through here. Walk me through the rest of the setup, though.
And if you take a look at where they're trying to play out and what they're trying to do, if we pull up, we are seeing a Torbjorn pick. That's Orbits playing up that. And, you're trying to stay alive. And if you take a look, we're actually seeing Mario Blue and his squad pushing up very aggressively, less of a do-si-do. And they actually try to catch off with the May wall to try and get that situated, but it does not actually go. And the first kill does go. Mario Blue finds Killer Guppies. That's the healer for the opposition that is taken out of the situation. But thankfully for them, Blue Phoenix managed to catch out Gonzo in the process, but IFE takes Orbits as well. The Torbjorn not able to last long enough, and it's definitely looking like a bit of a retake scenario, but no, Dunzo taking Dunzo to IFE as he gets absolutely Helix grenaded out. And we're trying to see Blue Phoenix and the Sigma trying to catch the Zarya off guard, and it's looking like it's actually going to be switched up, and FAU is going to take recontesting as they try and push back Phoenix, but he is going to get that off and stay healed and regroup, and we are actually seeing FAU take the objective with only 22% given towards the MBU side.
And it looks like Flooding Yin was able to really get on point, maintain that charge on the Zarya, and really frag out. A player like Spence on that Wrecking Ball, not much of contesting that you can do in that situation. As you mentioned, ended up taking out Deathwalker on that Baptiste, and once you let that Zarya get big, you've got to deal with her immediately in a situation like that, as we already see ourselves 60% toward a grab. Mario Blue already with a Shatter. Ult economy definitely in favor of this Reinhardt here, and it comes out immediately.
Yeah, that Shatter does actually connect and kill, and his teammates go through as well. He may pass as well from Deathwalker getting that kill, but Spence as well following quickly into Silva Mask. We take a look at the fight that happened. They're trying to situate themselves a little bit better, but the spawn advantage for the for the Missouri Baptist side gives them a little bit of an edge during this firefight. You're seeing right here the fight trying to step away. They're trying to distance themselves. That was flooding Jin. That was trying to get away from that fight. And there is the Mei ult coming out. They're trying to freeze out the competition, keep them there. And we do see Blue Phoenix gets caught out and slammed right there. Mario Blue cleaning up, and it's the rest of the opposing side getting those frags very successfully as we see Florida Atlantic continuing their dominant reign as they reach up into the 60s and 70s of the contest.
70% here. Spence desperately trying to get out here just to maintain his life, giving away ult charge in the meantime. They're working with a Death Blossom from IFE. They've got a Nano to pair with it. You've got to assume they want to use this proactively just to try and wrap this up, and here comes the Mei wall.
Oh, a Mei wall and a ton of ults dropping. That's Reaper going through the Beyblade, trying to find its work, but it's not enough, only connecting onto orbits. But we do see the aggression coming from Florida Atlantic. They're pushing in hard, catching off Missouri Baptist off guard. Thankfully for Missouri Baptist, Blue Phoenix is still in this one, but he's got to hurry in quick. He does have that flux available for his side, so he can take that aggression early, and he does start it. Does he catch? He does. The slam comes down. Two following suit, but it doesn't seem to matter. Not enough damage going out. Telemax does fall, but Mario Blue gets the charge onto orbits, and it's looking like it's just going to be another cleanup for Florida Atlantic onto the opposing side of Missouri Baptist.
Another cleanup for Florida Atlantic, but I'll tell you what, look at Missouri Baptist. Spence gets in the backline and caps it. They're already at 22% here, but it's turned back to Florida Atlantic. The overtime clock is ticking, and it looks like Blue Phoenix not able to touch. First round in a dominating fashion, I gotta say, Infernos goes to the side of Florida Atlantic here.
Yeah, I mean, you take a look and you look at the star playing that's going on, and you definitely have to call out the tank play for them. You take a look at every engagement that was situated, and Mario Blue comes out not just swinging, but literally swinging as the Reinhardt choice. He had a shatter that was successful, hit more than one, and killed one in the process as well. So you like to see that kind of situation, but looking at the MBU side now, you see Blue Phoenix, who's actually switched up, not going to go out for the Sigma, and it's a bit of a flop. He picks the Reinhardt, and Mario Blue, who we saw Reinhardt on before previously, has now switched it up to go for that little bit of a dive on top of the Winston.
And it's weird to see them opt for this. Nope, they go back to the Echo. That makes more sense here. They go for the double bubble comp. They've got the Winston with the Zarya bubble to really hone in on those slams, protect that Winston a little bit more. As I say protect, he takes a Hanzo arrow right to the face as he wants to jump in there. Blue Phoenix wants to establish that presence on point as that Reinhardt really forced the brawl. Immediately finds a Fire Strike kill, but now we've got the Reaper inside of Mario Blue's face. Dunzo cleans it up. Godzo finds the entry frag onto Dunzo as well. They're all even here. Walk me through the fight, Infernos.
And taking a look, Killer Guppy manages to bring back Dunzo, which is the revive off the board for the Mercy. But if you take a look at the situation, it is Missouri Baptist who's taking control. We saw this before in the last one. They started off strong taking it, but it didn't last very long. I think the healing for their side's good, but it's not good enough as Godzo removes Spins, and there's everything going. Telemax takes Guppy, flooding, and Telemax following up with another 2 kills. That's every side besides the last 2 players, and that was, Orbits and Deathwalker, who just succumbed as well to the Mario Blue Winston kill. I mean, just watching what we're seeing and how well we're seeing the Fresno Florida Atlantic, team come out and frag. They don't need to win the side first. They come through and they can take that retake and hold it, because we're definitely seeing them do that now as they're finally surpassing the amount of contesting that we see from the Missouri Baptist side.
Yeah, now the brawl comp that Blue Phoenix is bringing out for Missouri Baptist managed to get that first presence on point. They were able to brawl out for a limited amount of time during that contest, but as the charge comes in onto the Winston there, he does hit a wall. He's falling low there, definitely needs some assistance, doesn't find it immediately though. You've got to assume Missouri Baptist want to push in here, but they're not quite able to as of yet. And that brings me into my point of these Discord orbs on Spence on this Wrecking Ball. He's having a hard time getting into the team, especially with a Brigida to contest him, as you see Telemex doing so well right now. However, Spence does get the nano boost, comes free of charge from Deathwalker, and now they want to move in, but flooding in is getting some entry frags as well in this Zarya.
Yeah, Godzo used the duplicate quite well, turning into the opposing side of Blue Phoenix to the Reinhardt, who just gets taken out by Godzo. Not on the Reinhardt still, but nonetheless was successful for it. Telemax follows suit onto Orbits, and it's looking like we're actually going to see Florida Atlantic take another fight as Godzo cleans up with 2 more. The aggression from the Echo is absolutely phenomenal. Mario Blue rushing in as well, really deep, trying to catch them straight out of their spawn. Like you said, this brawl is really going to deny any opportunity for Missouri Baptist to try and get situated. They're stuck in their own choke point right outside their spawn. Gonzo cleans up another onto Spence, who had gained a little bit too far with no healing opportunity, and they're running out of time to step towards the objective.
And this is the interesting thing that you see about the meta right now, Infernos. Zenyatta being so good is only because he can apply this Discord Orb to someone like Gonzo on this Echo. But in a situation like this, where you see Florida Atlantic just cleaning up over and over and over again, they're unable to contest Gonzo, as well as flooding in as he gets this charge. They really can't find an answer to the variety of different angles that this comp brings to you, and you're going to see it as they quickly clean up Busan here. 2-0 Florida Atlantic, and if this is what the rest of the maps are looking like, Infernos, it's not looking good for Missouri Baptist. They've got to go back to a quick huddle after this and try and discern what they're going to do next.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with that. They need to have that regroup, kind of figure out and get their, their legs under themselves. They were tripping in situations where I don't think they necessarily needed to. Now, I think a lot of that is entirely due to Gonzo's choice of picking up the Echo. Everywhere we turned, every fight we saw, the Echo coming through and Gonzo coming through and getting up frags that you see very successfully. A 14 kill streak, 23 total eliminations. That's exceptionally well. Mario Blue came in swinging as well. That entire, VIP section right there was entirely in the favor of Florida Atlantic. While they did win, it definitely shows you how well they won. So I think that's something they need to keep in mind.
Definitely, and even in that play of the game, you saw Godzo right there just taking advantage of the disruption that the Winston was putting through. As that Primal Rage comes out, he's booping, he's bopping your team around, you're all over the place, you're having to deal with the Winston bubble, the Ana can't heal you through the Winston bubble, and then Godzo's just cleaning up after that. Using those sticky bombs to really take advantage of those low health targets, cleaning them up with a focusing beam. Really well played there, just from that duo to really win a whole fight by themselves by utilizing what is normally a contesting ultimate to instead bring disruption to a brawl-centered comp and take it right to them, and then use that insane echo damage to capitalize on that disruption that Winston brought.
Yeah, take it right to them. They did, completely trapping them in their own spawn, forced to continuously fight off of Respawn. Now, speaking of Respawn, we're going to talk about our next gaming sponsor. Thank you very much, Respawn Products, for sponsoring us. Respawn Products are forged for all-day comfort for content creators, professional, and casual players. If you need to look for a new upgrade to your setup, they're the place to go. Live to play another day with Respawn, your battle-ready partner. I know you. Yes, right here.
Are we doing it? Yeah, we got the setup, the Respawn chair, courtesy of Respawn. I'm loving it. Could not be more comfortable sitting down with these casts. Excuse me. We've got our tyrant Caleb Glooby on the back end running the production, courtesy of him, courtesy of Respawn. Loving the chair. Excited to jump into it. And speaking of sitting here doing casts, what map are we going into next?
I believe we're actually heading to Blizzard World. That's what we're seeing here, at least right here on the screen. So we know this is the exact same we saw previously. Then we didn't, of course, see that's the second objective for that one. We saw the other one, but Blizzard World, of course, being a hybrid objective, it's going to be pretty focused about a heavy push to take that first control point, and then focusing on kind of a hero switch to try and switch it up as you turn into having to carry out the car, trying to bring the payload to home. And I definitely think from watching the Becker versus Central Methodist University kind of match, Becker College played very aggressively, but Central Methodist could not fight them off until they also switched to that aggressive style of gameplay. So I think it's going to come out to basically the same thing here. Missouri Baptist struggled to fight out and brawl when necessary. Florida Atlantic just winning out those battles and those engagements. And we need to see some more aggressiveness in their engagements from Missouri Baptist if they hope to stand a chance in the next matchup.
And I want to talk about Mecha Base briefly, because right when we came out, what did we see, Infernos? We saw a Sigma and a Wrecking Ball, right? I think if anything, Blizzard World is going to cater more to that meta style that it looks like MBU really wants to bring to this series. As we kind of look at Streets phase here and the variety of different angles that Blizzard World brings, that's when that Wrecking Ball, that's when that Sigma can take advantage of that high ground. And if you are running a Reinhardt on the other team and the opposing team knows how to capitalize on that, it really shows how weak of a character Reinhardt is right now. He's kind of been subject to this power creep that we mentioned so often. He can't do two things at once. He's either shielding his team or he's doing damage. And that's what Wrecking Ball or Sigma can really bring to a composition to take advantage of and exploit the weaknesses that Reinhardt has. Hopefully MBU can do that, because they've got to find an answer right now for Florida Atlantic.
I mean, we do see from MBU the actual Reinhardt choice. They're going to bring out the Reinhardt Zarya, combination, a very old school style combination. They're bringing out the Symmetra and Hanzo. There's not a single new hero, in their lineup. They're bringing out the Ana as a healer and the Mercy. So very basic kind of lineup for the opposing side. We do actually see a Zarya as well, but they are bringing out that Wrecking Ball. Hammond himself coming through. But the one thing I want to kind of touch on is we're seeing the Echo choice, and to follow it up, another droid. We're seeing Bastion come out. He's going to be trying to wreck up house, trying to get into that, running around and situate himself possibly up on the high grounds. That could be a very dangerous situation for MBU to have to look out for. No, the switch.
And yep, he did it to you too. He baited you. He baited you, Infernos. You can't let it happen. If you're going to talk about IFE, you can't. Oh, no, he's back on it. He's back on it. He's baiting me now. He baited you to then bait me. I'll tell you what, we got to talk about it. Godzo on this Echo. You got to think that Missouri Baptist wanted to bring a hit scan to try and deal with this, or at least a Zenyatta to discord Godzo on this Echo, but it's not happening, and he's got free reign in the skies right now.
Yeah, I mean, the only person you really have to significantly deal that would be your Ana. You don't want to have to get them off the heel because then Godzo's going to rain down terror just like he did on Orbit.
Oh my goodness.
He gets a second in the res, does try to go through, but Godzo! Triple kill onto Killer Guppy. Flooding picks up the next, but Godzo gets the quad onto Dunzo, who is Dunzo in this situation. And Spence is the last one to fall for that side as we do see a team wipe. And we're going to see Florida Atlantic completely sweep this first capture point, and they're now going to head into the actual transit stage.
Mario Blue finds the slam on the Wrecking Ball, slams onto the ground, forces out resources from the side of MBU, and then Godzo immediately comes in, cleans it up, and finds a 4K. They finally get orbits on a McCree to hopefully deal with him, but I gotta think they either need a Mercy Pocket with it or a Discord Orb. I'd prefer the Discord onto Godzo just to stop these duplicates from coming out so quickly, as you see him already at 80%, but they've got to figure something out here, Infernos.
Yeah, I mean, if you take a look at Missouri Baptist, they are contesting Florida Atlantic up on that high ground. You see that IFE was hanging out, kind of situating themselves, trying to get the opportunity. They do have to take the step back, but they do that successfully. Flooding comes in with a double kill onto Dunzo and Killer. They're taking out the situation while IFE, your DPS, who was hanging out on site, gets Killer Guppy, gets Spence out, and now it is a 3 versus, 5 situation. Now, you lost Spence for that, and you're not going to have to worry about the attacking side. Mario Blue and Godzo, however, continue their sweep, with Godzo dropping a double kill. And now if I was Missouri Baptist, I would just regroup. This spawn is not in your favor. You're continuously being just dismantled every time you step out. Look at the aggression right now from Mario. He's inside. Godzo's not far behind. Orbit may find one, but that's all they're gonna get, and they're going to need to reset themselves.
I mean, I'll tell you what, you're having a good game if you've got 6 ults and your Zenyatta sitting at their spawn door. Things are going halfway decently if he's getting picked off at their spawn. Now, I'll tell you what, we've talked about Godzo, we've talked about Mario Blue, but I'll tell you what, we'll talk about him more in a second. Here comes the Graviton Surge, and Godzo with a double kill on the High Noon.
I mean, the duplicate works out well, and unfortunately for them, Killer Guppy brings back Orbits, which could actually work. His High Noon is ready as well. So it's something to look out for, but Godzo does get away from the situation now as he's stepping back through. His teammate's on the respawn as well. That's IFE coming back, who does have the cannon ready as well. He could transform into the tank, but Orbits, the switch to the hit scan is successful, removing Godzo from the competition, but the Ana Bolt does come through, boosting out, trying to get a little bit of support, but it doesn't seem to matter. We see Max Blue behind. There's the Dragons coming through. It connects a little bit onto Flooding, but it's not enough to finish anything off, and it seems to be a little bit of a regroup as Mario gets pulled by the Roadhog into the pit of death.
Ooh, Blue Phoenix finds the environmental, but now Godzo matches the McCree, saying that he's the DPS difference this match and is trying to take it right to Orbits. Here comes IFE with the tank. He ends up getting 2, finds Spence, Sobamass frags out onto Dunzo, and you've got to assume this is in Florida Atlantic's position here, but Spence does find a kill with that minefield.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely okay. In this situation, you need more than just the one. It's unfortunate to have that go that way, but Blue Phoenix not able to escape the wrath of the opposition. Sobamask actually gets that finish off despite having Mario close behind as well. Sobamask with a double kill. Healers can do it too as he finishes off Orbits as well. And the push continues. IFE, the Bastion, doing Bastion's work as he keeps Dunzo out of the competition. And they're trying to fight it out. They caught them out in the spawn, and it's definitely not looking good as Spence goes for the ground pound.
It definitely does. Spence finally ends up getting fragged out. Look at IFE, the anchor of this team on this Bastion. The Graviton Surge stops the Roadhog from touching. Blue Phoenix not able to get there. And with a demoralizing 357 in the time bank, Florida Atlantic capped Blizzard World in another, I've said it again, but a dominating fashion. I mean, it doesn't seem fair, Infernos. It doesn't seem fair. And what I wanted to talk about briefly was IFE on that Bastion, right? We talked about Godzo. We talked about Mario Blue with their synergy on that Wrecking Ball Echo. But IFE really takes it and treats himself almost like a Reinhardt in a sense, right? Becomes the anchor of the team. If you're on the opposing team, what's the first thing you're looking at? It's this scary Bastion that's on top of the payload, right? However, when he's able to be that anchor of the team and can force out so many resources from the side of MBU here, that's when Mario Blue, that's when Godzo have all of that room and all that space to pop off. I got to give it up to him from a coaching perspective for the choice of the team comp. You wouldn't think a Bastion could work on attack, but here we are.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely want to think about it, but when you bring that Bastion in and you have that high extreme level of damage that can come out from him, you don't think it's going to be as successful. We take a look at that choke there on that last point as I step through the Pearly Arch, the Pearly Gates, which was the Pearly Gates for the Missouri Baptist side. That tank comes through. You see him launch himself in the air, get 2 shots, take the healer out of the situation, and that removes the revive opportunity for the opposing side. Your mercy is no longer there, and it definitely gave Florida Atlantic the push that they needed to finish off and sweep out that last objective sequence.
And I'll tell you what, it looks like Florida Atlantic has successfully scared Dunzo and Orbits now, as you see them on the double hit scan, assuming they'll have to deal with the Echo. However, you find Godzo and IFE on their respective Bastion, and now a Hanzo. We haven't seen this from Godzo. You know, the Hanzo pretty good right now, not nearly in as good a spot as Echo is, obviously, but we'll have to see how they can combat this push from MBU, as we see McCree looking to frontline here and get a little aggressive.
Yeah, take a look at that push. Dunzo manages to find IFE, which is a DPS out, but Spence almost got single-handedly killed by Telemax. And that is a bad situation. You don't want that dive comp of that Hammond to get caught out by a healer. However, Dunzo's on a spree, takes out Mario Blue. That's your tank in this situation. You don't want that, and you see the slam coming down, and another person knocked up. Godzo on the Hanzo manages to finish off Orbits, and Spence suicides into the depths of the water, but it's not done yet. That's flooding, trying to get Killer Guppy. They're bringing it back off the death of the Hammond, and you see them continue to go off. Like I had said before, the Telemax used an ult to get that one off, and that's the damage increase they needed, and it actually works in their favor.
Deathwalker throws out the 4K Samsung 70-inch LED of a window that thing is. It looks like it was a bit of a misplacement as he ends up falling, the rest of his team dead. Speaking of falling, Spence took a quick drink, huh?
Yeah, that he did. Fell right in, decided to take a swim, and unfortunately, the moon has no water, so he did not learn how to swim from a very young age.
Fair enough. Hard to get used to here on Earth. Gravity obviously a lot different. He finds out the hard way here. We're going to have to see how he plans his rollouts, knowing that there is water on the back of the map going forward.
I mean, he obviously added some damage going into that situation. Down onto Telemax, but it wasn't enough. IFE now punching out the Ashe on the opposing side, removing her from that. A knockout KO right there, but Mario follows through into Blue. The tank-on-tank violence continues, but Killer Guppy brings back the Ashe, but not for long, as flooding removes them just as quick as they came back. You see the aggressiveness. Orbis managed to find one, but you do see the Hamilton making their way around. Spitz, who's low now and trying to fight off. He's trying to escape with his life, but he can't. Godzo, the Hanzo Maniac, comes through, shows he can do it not just on Echo, but on the Bowman himself.
And I mean, I'll tell you what, look at Godzo. I mean, all it took was one control point game and an attack on Blizzard World. This guy's found his confidence, right? I mean, he's over here frontlining his Hanzo. He knows when a fight is won. I'm sure he's being enabled on his team. I don't want to say it's a hard carry, but the kid's kind of cracked so far. He's been able to pop off on the Echo. Here he is on the Hanzo taking it to him, but here's this minefield as well. And here comes the supercharger from the side of Mario Blue for this defense.
Yeah, you look, you see Blue Phoenix gets a nice hook onto Telemax, which removes that, so his ult is out of the sequence. But there's the actual Bob comes out, and there goes the Flux. Every single ult dropping. The Bob catches one, but the Flux did as well. Soba gets one kill onto the Dunzo, removes the Bob out of contention, but done is not done yet without that Bob. Killer Guppy brings back another. You had looked at that entire fight. Every single ult was available for Florida Atlantic, and they still managed to lose that. An amazing push at the last second, an amazing show of aggressiveness from Missouri Baptist as they take that point and have another 3 minutes now to escort the payload to its last finale.
They've got 3 minutes. They find themselves on Streets phase. Blue Phoenix finds himself Telemex. That's a Baptiste down. This does not look good for the side of the defense here. If I'm Method Baptist, excuse me, Missouri Baptist here, I want to immediately push forward, find some high ground, and stop this defense before it can really gain its bearings and get back. However, it looks like the opposite happens. Defense is able to find their high ground, and now Florida Atlantic finds themselves in a good position to contest this payload for a while.
Yeah, they do have the high ground, and Gonzo does have the kill onto Orbits, which does situate themselves. It's looking like Missouri Baptist is going to take a little step back, take a little bit of a regroup, but it's not before the post bomb goes off and the rest of the team goes off. Silva finds Dunzo, Flooding and Gonzo go in return as well. Unfortunately, Gonzo gets fragged out by Blue Phoenix. The Roadhog doing what it needs to do, but Flooding Jin shows tanks can also do it too. The last 2 kills going for the actual supports for their side, showing that supports, can dish out just as much damage as your actual attacking line.
They absolutely can. When you put a Sova Mask, Telemex, Baptiste, Zen on your comp list, if you've got him in your tier here, that's a ton of spam damage from the backline, right? You've got Godzo coming in with the Hanzo, Mario Blue getting these picks, and look at these 5 orbs just consistent from the Zenyatta player here that he finds 2!
Oh my goodness, Blue Phoenix does get it and shuts it down from Solo, but it doesn't seem to matter as Agafi goes off. Killer Guppy and Dunzo are absolutely Dunzo, and it's still aggression. They're fighting this out and brawling it. Tracer almost taking a drink in that situation, and we are going to have to worry about that Missouri Baptist side and how are they going to fight this one off. Spence does have the minefield available. It can buy them enough time if he can swing around in the right direction. We do see him making his way around trying to find it, but they catch that. That's Mario Blue coming from around, chases him down and gets the hook. Spence may get away for that situation, but they do not have the availability now, and it's going to take them that much longer to find the situation for themselves.
This is the difficulty with Wrecking Ball, right? So you find yourself in a situation where you have to ask yourself, am I feeding or am I forcing the other team to commit resources and doing enough? However, speaking of resources, IFE throws out the Pulse Bomb and finds 2 from Deathwalker and Orbits there. And going back to Spence here, I'm concerned on what he's going to do on this Wrecking Ball because it's such a great pick, but right now it just seems like he's feeding ultimates, especially to this Tracer on the opposing side.
I mean, take a look still. You're seeing Mario Blue every single time Spence has come to an area. Mario Blue is close by. This is the first time we haven't seen that. You see the Transcendence come out. He's just stepping into every mine, clearing it out for his side, so there's no danger. The Dragons go out as well. You see Blue Phoenix manages to find your Sigma, but it's not a big a deal as Mario Blue drops down the Roadhog, but it goes the other way. That is your high noon from Orbits finding your tank, and IFE, which is that DPS we spoke about so lovingly, and it's up to Gonzo, who's going to have to show if he has that potential on Hanzo to really show off and fight as they have Boop and wait for their side coming through. We do see the fight, the heal going up. Baptiste healing up the Zenyatta, trying to get that set up, and Spence going in heavy to try and fight it off. Last few seconds on the clock. They are staying on, and they brought out a Torbjorn, and they're actually carrying this card. The turret goes down, but it doesn't seem to matter as they're holding strong where necessary. Spence rushing in, Blue Phoenix from behind, and the opportunity goes down, and Pound goes on the top. And you see Spence trying to stay alive in the situation, but every kill is dropping for the red side of Florida Atlantic. Dropping another as Gonzo finds one. Mario Blue and Flooding. Flood, I should say. The scoreboard up top, it's coming up all red, and that is Missouri Baptist struggling and failing to keep the payload over to the second side, and they're going to lose out as we see Florida Atlantic win here on Blizzard World.
I'll tell you what, week 1, night 1, Florida Atlantic looks strong. We didn't get to see them in our placement games. However, let's take a look at another Godzo play of the game here on the Echo. Walk me through this real quick, Infernos.
I mean, take a look at the above, that deals more damage. The lower health they are, comes in, sweeps are necessary, focuses the Mercy to not allow them to finish off the res. 2 players low because you have that support from that IFE coming in on the turret. He may have not gotten a kill, but the damage DPS that a Bastion can deal out allows that Echo to come in and sweep with that explosive little bit of damage. The Ordnance coming in, and the mobility of the Echo completely removes the possibility for Missouri Baptist to escape with their lives.
I mean, he's kind of clean with it, if I do say so myself. Especially when you find yourself in this division, when you see these, diamond, potentially master players, you know that you have some mechanical skill there, but is there some game sense? What's stopping you from really pushing forward in that climb? But Gazzo's showing that his potential, unlimited here on this Echo so far, as he's popping off on these DPS, especially when he's paired with someone like Blue Mario, or Mario Blue, excuse me, and then IFE as his counterpart as DPS here. They're killing it right now. We're jumping in Dorado next, and I'll tell you what, it's not looking good for Missouri Baptist unless they can find an answer to this.
I mean, definitely, we are seeing phenomenal play from Florida Atlantic, and Gonzo, of course, is doing phenomenal as well. I'm telling you, this dude is just built different. He has to have just the best set of equipment behind him and backing him up. And speaking
Speaking
of the best
speaking of
set of
equipment, hold
equipment,
on a second. Yeah,
yeah,
hold on. Yeah,
equipment,
speaking of,
HyperX.
it sounds like you're leading into something here,
Yeah, I think I
Infernos.
might be. And that is HyperX, who has the mission to develop gaming products for every type of gamer. That's your memory, your solid state drives, your headsets, keyboards, mice. I have a HyperX keyboard. They're a phenomenal place to pick up your peripheral products. You've got the headphones rocking that as well. HyperX is the gear choice of celebrity ambassadors, pro gamers, tech enthusiasts, and casting squads as well, apparently. So make sure to check out the
Seems
HyperX
so.
equipment. Thank you very much, HyperX, for the sponsorship. And I wonder how many more segues we can kind of get into this before it gets over.
Hey, I think we can find quite a few if they give us. They just let us take over the mics. They give us all night. I'm sure it'll never end.
Yeah, we'll find a way to go through. But like you had said, I've already seen Dorado tonight, so I'm aware of a little bit of presence, what's happened so far. We had seen initially where Central Methodist had really struggled to get their feet under them, like we had seen right now from Missouri Baptist. Kind of the same situation with a pure aggressiveness from at the time Becker College, and here Florida Atlantic really makes them struggle to do anything. And it was the complete opposite when we started off on Dorado. Central Methodist took the first point in half the time it took Becker College to do so. Of course, they were unable to finish off the actual payload towards the end, while Becker College was. But, nonetheless, that aggressiveness that Central Methodist tried to adapt was something that you have to take pride in. And I definitely think it's something Missouri Baptist is going to have to do as well if they want to stand any chance here on map 3.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to find your small W's, right? You got to find those small victories. What did we do well? How do we capitalize on that going forward? And I think one thing they were able to do well for attack there was find how to take it to the Bastion. So they put Orbits on the right side of Blizzard World. He was able to divert some attention from the side of Florida Atlantic. And then as they went to push and deal with him, Dunzo was able to find that entry frag onto the Bastion. And that really opened things up from there. However, one thing that I think Dorado exploits as far as teams are concerned quite often is if you can find a team that can hold that high ground and can maintain it throughout the course of the map, it's going to be difficult to deal with. And going back to Blizzard World, what did we see Florida Atlantic doing perfectly? They took that Wrecking Ball, they put Soba Mask up there, they forced Spence to run around as that Wrecking Ball, try and deal with everyone, had a Discord Orb on him the entire time. They put Soba Mask on the high ground, they put their Roadhog on there as well, and then holding that high ground that forces someone to come to you. And with that height advantage, it's absolutely decimating to deal with for a team. And I'm hoping that Florida Atlantic can continue to do that, but also hoping that MBU can find a way to take advantage of that high ground themselves or get Florida Atlantic off of it because they're going to have to find an answer as we go into a potential 3-0 here.
Yeah, I mean, taking a look at what we saw before, high ground is absolutely everything. This doesn't even have to be a Star Wars film to show the importance of high ground, right? I mean, everyone knows it's sink or swim. You stay up top or you drown down below. And that's really what we're going to have to see once again. We saw it in the last matchup. We're going to see it here. And one thing I want to point out, which was an interesting decision we had seen, because you and I had, dished some hate on the Arisa, pick. She's just not super viable. We had seen Arisa in the Central Methodist and
We
Becker
did.
College fight. We saw that down below. We saw the potential viability from both sides in bringing the Arisa in for play. And I think we'll probably see that again. Is It's one of those objectives, this full escort map with tons of high ground. You do have to keep, that shield that can kind of curve over the top of you and keep you a little bit safe from that aerial fire up above. Unfortunately, if there is a Hanzo in play like we know and love to see, he will decimate those shields and make it that much more difficult for them to stay on the actual payload.
The potential is definitely there, and I think from either side that runs it, hopefully both of them have a viable Wrecking Ball player. We've seen Spence play it so far. So like we kind of talked about behind the scenes before this all started, when you run an Orisa comp, the idea of the whole thing is to bunker it down, right? Get every bit of frontline damage I can shooting forward behind this protective shield. But if Spence, all it takes is one good roll through, boops everyone in front of that shield, and then that's going to allow Dunzo and Orbits to really pop off on those DPS. So that's where the Orisa can fall off, as protecting your team becomes more difficult if they're displaced from that frontal shield that you can provide. However, we'll have to see what they go with as we do jump into Dorado here.
Yeah, we do finally see the hero choices coming out. We do see 4 Sorry for the MBU side. We were seeing a very normal strategy like before. This time, Orbits is going to be rocking the Reinhardt pick, and Blue Phoenix on the Zarya. So like we had talked about, the only newish, hero we are seeing is the Baptiste in the hands of Deathwalker. For the opposing side, for Florida Atlantic, Mario Blue on the the Winston. We've seen so much from him already today. That aggression that could go through. The choices that are different is Telemex rocking out and not going with Baptiste this time. Instead, he's opting out and going for that rally kind of play. So, IFE's rocking out and picking up the Somber, so the hack could be very detrimental, usually just trying to shut down the opposition. Maybe once they see there is no Hammond to play, maybe a switch will come through from IFE. But Godzo picking back up the God-style pick. He picks back up Echo for them to try and fight this one out.
He's back on the Echo here. Definitely a different style of healing that he'll have to receive with those armor packs from Telemex on the Brigida, and also Sobamask being reliant on hitting those shots. But speaking of getting hit, Mario Blue jumps in, throws all of his resources, doesn't have a way out, and immediately pays for it with his life.
Yeah, you jump in, and the attempt there is to try and knock them kind of off, to try and situate for a better firefight on the same level. It doesn't work. They saw it coming, taking a step back. Gonzo's going to come around on the flank. He's flying up above, trying to catch them off guard after they finally go through this lower arch. But you will see some of the attacking sides of Florida Atlantic kind of try to play up high. Gonzo, of course, on the Echo, you can always play up high as that, and it shows over the top of Reinhardt shield and Orbits. Falls to that. That's your leading tank, and now your Mario Blue, your leading tank for the opposition as well, but it doesn't seem to matter. Your Mercy healer is taken out by flooding, and now Gonzo following up with a DPS kill. IFE may fall, but that's not who you're looking for in this situation. What you're looking for is your secondary DPS trying to go off, which we do actually see. Gonzo playing very aggressively as Orbits makes his way back in as the Reinhardt. With the opportunity to come through, we see Vegeta coming in and swinging and getting him off, and it does go in that direction. They finish off and get the first payload objective completed, but not before Orbits manages to get a little bit of a swing onto Telemex.
And speaking of Orbits here, one thing that you and I didn't catch at the beginning of this round, Spence, the previous Wrecking Ball player, now on the McCree, and Orbits, the previous McCree player, now jumps onto the main tank. So hopefully they think they found an answer here. However, the answer is definitely not to keep flooding Yin up with all of this charge on Zarya, as he's already got a Graviton Surge ready and in the oven.
Yeah, we definitely did see some viability for this Graviton Surge when you finally force off the defensive side to get off of their high ground. The second they drop, you know where they're going to drop to, and they come out the door swinging. It goes both ways as Flooding manages to get two, but there's the High Noon from up above finding out, and it's 2 o'clock for them. And you do have Killer Guppy on the Mercy using the res, bringing back one, your healer, but now you don't have your main tank. Orbis is taken out. The hack comes in as well. That's IFE. That goes and gets 2 or 3. And Mario Blue cleans up where necessary. Spence does trade out the IFE, but like I've said before, you're not that worried about that Sombra choice. She's there to shut down individual players, and once she's done their job, it's not as important. The push comes, there's a Graviton, and that's done from the Echo as he goes through, and you get that one situated. This is Godzo who got that off, and Mario Blue gets the triple kill as Orbits finds one, but it's not going to be enough. Hammered down, Orbits actually connects with Godzo, but it's not going to be enough as he eventually does fall as well to the hands of Flooding.
It's such an interesting fight to watch, Infernos, because your eyes immediately want to be on the payload. However, all the action is happening with this EMP Winston that's in your backline. You're worried about them capping Streets phase, but joke's on you. They're at third point at your spawn door. Mario Blue waiting for you with a Tesla cannon. I heard it doesn't miss, Infernos. 100% accuracy on that thing, guaranteed 24/7. When you pair it with an EMP, it doesn't matter how many times you throw a Graviton Surge at the payload, your whole team's dying behind you.
Ooh, IFE with a bit of a slugfest onto Blue Phoenix. He may be large and he may be, pretty thick, but it's not going to make a difference. Godzo, they're using the High Noon to remove that hit scan defense against Godzo. That is your main DPS removed. You have Ivy still available, and they are trying to get the damage onto Dunzo. You do see the fight going off, but you see Mario Blue, who gets a little too aggressive, has to step back behind it, and Telemax falls as well to the Baptiste on the opposing side. Winston goes in. He has his ult to go Monkey Rage mode, and he does indeed go in. Flooding finds Orbits. Blue Phoenix happen to find your healer of Ana, though, so that is a bad situation. Your healer, your ranged healers take it out, and now Mario Blue is as well. Dunzo with that kill assisted by his side. Flooding just resets, kills himself off after getting Blue Phoenix, and you're gonna have to play for a regroup for Florida Atlantic, and there's the revive, which I actually don't think was necessary here. You don't need to waste that revive.
Yeah, I agree on the Mercy res there. Definitely didn't need to come out immediately. However, you do see Roadhog here pushing for the side of Blue Phoenix. MBU pushing forward. Spence finally does find Godzo there off of that Echo. Hopefully he feels like he can deal with him more on this Tracer. However, I will just have to see. And out these high noons. These high noons,
That's like the
Infernos.
third high noon. That's been a double kill. He is going off right now. This is definitely a switch you wanted to see. They switched up who was playing that tank, and Spence showing exceptional gameplay on the DPS side as well.
He absolutely is. I enjoyed his Wrecking Ball gameplay. I felt like he was making the right moves, a couple questionable ones, but hey, maybe his calling is on this hit scan. Someone's got to deal with Godzo, and Spence at least has an answer to it right now with these high noons.
Yeah, obviously he does, because Godzo had to make the switch as well. He doesn't want to stick up in the air. He knows that that 6 shooter's got 6 of those shots just for him, but none for IFE apparently, as IFE finds out that, and there's the hack going through. Everyone taken out, and Killer Guppy can't even get the revive off his hack as well and gets taken out. Last one standing is Blue Phoenix. It is not a team wipe, but Spence does get the respawn as he did die first, but it's looking like Florida Atlantic going to get this pushed all the way. It's coming down to the last second. Doofus gets in, and the time slides away, however, and he pushes up to go for it. There's more going on. Sigma, the rift goes off. He pulls them up, and it does not go. There it is. Up, Mario gets dropped, as well as Telemex. And there's a little bit of damage going on, but nothing getting a kill just yet. Everyone fighting, trying to deny this. Spins playing the Doofus up close. Mario Blue jumping and hopping Deathwalker straight to a game. And Giller gets Deathwalker up, but it's not mattering. Florida Atlantic all red on the kill feed as they follow up and get the last remaining kills. And Blue Phoenix is going to try and swing his way to a victory, and he can't swing long enough.
The awareness from Mario Blue is a little unprecedented in this game. If any of you in chat want to hone in your Winston gameplay, I'll tell you, don't scroll through YouTube looking at tips. Come back to this VOD and look at the way that Mario Blue finds space on this hero. He is constantly either pressuring backline or peeling for a DPS or support. The guy's all over the place, and he's playing out of his mind right now.
I mean, I would absolutely hate to face off against a Winston of this level. I mean, just sitting up on the high ground, as you know me, I'm a player that likes to play Widowmaker. Winston's already my worst nightmare. Now imagine seeing Mario Blue come out himself into my opposition. I would absolutely just disconnect right at that moment, because he is dirty with the Winston. Like you said, he pushes when he needs to. He has the peel of what you would expect a different style tank to have. He knows exactly where to be and how to do it. If we look over on that Florida Atlantic side, it's IFE who is actually the team captain. So all being led by IFE, and that's your secondary DPS, able to kind of gather information while invisible, kind of spectering out of the situation, giving that information where necessary. And we're not seeing a huge change in hero choice for this Florida Atlantic side. Only difference is Godzo back on the Echo.
I mean, do you need to see a different switch here? You know what I'm saying? Like when Florida Atlantic's bringing it right here, even on a defensive side here, the Echo works. IFE's constantly getting these off angles or working with Mario Blue as he jumps in that backline just to find those hacks to deny, whether it be an immortality field or now potentially a sleep with Deathwalker on the Ana. I mean, they've got an answer to what seems like virtually everything at this point.
I want to point out what just happened. IFE went in trying to sneak out behind Blue Phoenix, but gets too close, gets seen out, and he gets called out. IFE removed from the conversation, but Blue Phoenix is as well. The respawn's a little bit better for him, but it's not going to seemingly matter. The push as Mario Blue makes his way back up to the top to get that high ground. That shield from Sigma is definitely going to be a nuisance. A bubble for Mario Blue on top. That is your Zarya trying to gather as much charge as possible. Great positioning as make his way back. And it's still a firefight. They are managing to push. Missouri Baptist trying to make their way through, cutting off angles through the high ground. A missed jump by Blue Phoenix may put them in a difficult situation, however. Like you said, that Electro weapon will not miss, but at the same time, you also have to hit your jumps.
And that's what's perfect about Mario Blue so far. Watch how he does it. So he walks in, then he commits to it. Now he's committing to the dive now that they're up. I want to watch Mario Blue next fight, because you're going to see the same thing over and over again. He's just dropping his body onto point. Then he's throwing the bubble, and then the jump isn't used to get in. It's instead used to get out so that those supports can then get that ultimate charge off of him. He's going to do it over and over again. It may not immediately get kills. It's not the burst damage that's going to kill anybody, but it's the annoyance and it's the pressure that Winston so often provides.
Yeah, I mean, if you think of Fly Swatter, usually you think it's, hey, is the Brigitte swinging that around, trying to, hit somebody with that, that mace in hand? No, it's in fact Mario Blue on the Winston. He's a Fly Swatter. He's that buzzing around in that direction. He's the one causing the annoyance for the opposition. Missouri Baptist just doesn't have an answer. And unfortunately, Mario Blue jumps in quite deep. And that actually goes in their favor, though. Godzo comes in, has the duplicate ready as well. The hack comes out from IFE, and that is going to be the charge coming up, and it won't be ready for the next fight. But if you look over, as this is another complete wipe, except for one opposition player. Florida Atlantic take that fight, but you do have to worry about Spence, who is now playing on the McCree with the High Noon available.
He's got the High Noon, and it has been a tragedy for Florida Atlantic every time he's had that ultimate so far. So hopefully he can work wonders with it again. As you see, Blue Phoenix immediately wanting to jump in, going to take a lot of damage and force out the Primal just to get them off a high ground. He does exactly that, goes forward trying to take it to Flooding in here as he's so high charge on the Zarya, trying to get him out of the fight. Instead, it gives him the high ground.
Yeah, look at this, all the ults that were available for Florida Atlantic, they're opting not to use them, and instead they're just trying to fight it out, waste out the ones that were available for the Missouri Baptist side. They're aware they can get back in time before this first payload position is done. Blue Phoenix doing a little bit of a fist, taking IFB out as well, the boxing coming through. And it's going to be a little bit of a regroup. Florida Atlantic can make this back, and they do have 4 ults to their side. A Graviton, the Rage from the Monkey. Godzo can duplicate as well, following through, and Silvermask has that boost. That is phenomenal. You see the Rage come out. Mario coming through with the High Noon denies Godzo before the duplicate can come, and there is no mercy for that side. Sigma Rift comes, and Spence comes as well, taking Telumex out of the competition. Flooding manages to find Blue Phoenix, and Deathwalker takes the ante onto Mario, killing him off, and Spence killing off Flooding. So you see those ults were available for the Florida Atlantic side, but all of it dismantled by one single High Noon in the hands of Spence.
Yeah, I'm assuming what they wanted to do was get Flooding in on the Zarya there, throw the Graviton Surge, get Godzo in the air to throw those sticky bombs into it, combined with Mario Blue on that Primal Rage. However, Spence, like you mentioned, shuts it all down with that High Noon there, finds Godzo and forces Mario Blue away from him temporarily, because that High Noon will eat through a Primal Rage just as fast as any other character practically, and that's what allows MPU to cap it there as they move forward to Streets phase on Dorado.
Yeah, and take a look at the Swiss bats down. You see Dunzo is on the Reaper, and he has the ult charge ready. This is going to be a really large nuisance for the opposition. The hack comes out, however, so that won't be able to be done. They need to target him as well, because his is the only ult up, but Spence gets his charge. This is not good. Telemex may find one, as well as Gonzo. Telemex finds 2, actually, removing Dunzo, and Gonzo uses that Rift successfully, finding one, and then immediately finding the second, and finding the third, as they clean up what's left of the Missouri Baptist opposition.
I love the combination there. It's all planned. It's something they've scrimmed 100 times, and you can tell just by watching it. They go for the early EMP into the Sigma duplicate from Godzo, immediately gets a Flux, and then instead of going for the double support pick, oh goodness, Dunzo getting shut down there on the Death Blossom. No time to talk about it as Godzo hits him with a tactical crouch, just making sure his face can feel every bit of ashamed he can in that situation. And then I'll tell you what, Spence is what, 8 for 8 on these High Noons at this point?
Absolutely, finding Soba, but not finding necessarily who you would think you would want to find. Gonzo is still in, and it's showing their presence. Deathwalker falls to him, and Flooding manages to find Spence, so your McCree, your damage is out for naught. Telemax finding Orbits, and IFE cleaning up Blue Phoenix. It's just the opposition of the Soldier trying to stay alive. Dunzo is basically Dunzo, may actually escape, but Gonzo's on the hunt. He does not escape as Gonzo comes through and cleans up what necessary. That is a delay of your spawn, but Killer gonna go ahead and use that revive to make sure everyone is situated and regrouped as fast as possible.
Look at where Mario Blue's staging right now. Look at how he stages on top of that archway, just immediately applying pressure just by standing there. Presence causes pressure, and that's something we see so often as he throws a Primal Rage into the church.
I mean, look at this firefight going on in here. Everything's going down. Mario's swinging like a mad lad. Blue Phoenix makes his way down. The High Noon goes off, but it doesn't actually connect. IFE finds Orbits. However, Spence does connect eventually with Mario Blue, but it doesn't seem to matter as Telemex finds out your other healer. And there is the explosion. Telemex and Flooding as the Diva ult goes off, and Godzo punches out Spence to finish him off in that situation. Flooding finds another onto the Blue Phoenix man himself, the Monkey taken out of the fight, and it's going to be another regroup for Missouri Baptist, who desperately need to get past this Streets phase because they need to make it all the way, and they're running out of time with only 20 seconds left.
Only 20 seconds left. Flooding Yin only wanted a remech with that self-destruct as the Diva there, but instead found Killer Guppies as well on the Mercy there, and they've got to find an answer to something fast as the rally comes out from the side of Florida.
Yeah, you see that he jumped up there. Blue Phoenix tried to go over, but it didn't matter. Blue Phoenix does find IFE as they drop down. Mario Blue gets spins, flooding goes, but we're hearing ults go off everywhere. Orbits gets a damage onto the Godzo ability. Blue Phoenix punches out Soba, but flooding finds it as well. The UFC fight continues as Dunzo gets knocked out. Godzo, however, finding the Sigma tank and the healer as well. It's just the Monkey Man himself left on the objective, and he is going to fall. No, the ult saves him in just in time as you see Spence on the Doomfist finding his way in. Will he stay alive long enough? Blue Phoenix is still running out of time. As you see everyone continue to go in. Spence gets one. Telenex is taken out, but IFE finds Spence in return. Blue Phoenix running out. Diva ult going down. It goes, but does not connect. IFE finds Blue Phoenix to follow through, and it's just the Hammond Orbits is left on there. Killer gets in close as well. He's speed boost now set to the heal. He can't get back in time, or can he? They're managing to stay on as the fight goes. Gonzo connects with Death, shutting that down. Soba comes in, and finally, it's all set and done. The fight continues and ultimately ends as Florida Atlantic shut them out from the objective and win out in a 3-0 rout.
And it was such a beautiful contest from the side of Blue Phoenix there from MBU. However, it just didn't matter. Everyone was able to get back. The Immortality field was perfect right onto the cart, but Godzo just took it right to the Baptiste, and here's that EMP and the Winston, like I was mentioning, just in the back line. While you're looking at payload, Mario Blue's taking it to your entire support line in the back there on that play of the game.
You do notice here on this end screen, you actually are seeing a player from the Missouri Baptist side on the screen, which we did not see previously. Spence, massive amount of hero damage done, outdoing, exceptionally well enough to have his stat on the board, but Godzo not being outdone, 52 eliminations in that. Absolutely abhorrent to try and deal with that. I would fear that level of competition against you, and, thankfully we are going to get an interview with one of the players. I don't know who exactly we're going to pull, but, it was such a fun game to watch, and speaking of fun, let's talk about Helix Esports, the virtual reality and world-class gaming experience at state-of-the-art esports centers throughout the United States. They deliver a professional esports experience to anyone, and, as someone who owns a VR headset, VR is something every person should experience. So make sure to follow them, Helix Esports, today at Helix Esports USA.
Absolutely. And speaking of fun, it looked like Godzo was just kind of enjoying himself. I mean, is was the kid even sweating by the end of it? I couldn't tell.
We want Godzo.
I think we're talking. Sorry, we're talking to our production team. Yeah, I want Godzo.
I want Godzo.
I'd
You don't
love to
drop
have Godzo
52
if I can get
elims
him.
and not get an interview by the end of the round.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just the Echo though. I mean, came in with pulse bombs on Tracer, getting
it's the
frags when
synergy.
needed.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, everything was dropping. And think about it in that situation. You're not relying on a Sombra on your attack to get damage. You're relying on that hack utility. She's essentially a support utility player for your attacking side. You're not relying on that gun to dish out as much damage as you say you would. And seeing Godzo come through with that level and dropping that many frags is insane to watch. Doing it all alone with just a little bit of that support utility from his side, absolutely just wiping out the Missouri Baptist side. And we did see some good things for Missouri Baptist, however. Like we had said, we did see Spence playing very well in the Hammond. A couple mistakes, a
we
couple
did.
small things, and eventually small mistakes surmount to the big one, which is ultimately losing out the map.
I think MBU was definitely a practice team. They definitely looked like a practice team. However, at a variety of different places and instances, they were outclassed. And speaking of outclassed, it looks like we do have Godzo with us tonight. Godzo, how are you, man?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing well, doing well. Congratulations on the win, first of all.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem, no problem. Infernos, got a couple questions. I have a couple of my own, but I want to let you take it first.
Yes, number one question we'll start off with is how cracked on the sticks are you? Because what we see right there, exceptionally so.
I easily the best player on my team.
Oh, I mean, dropping 52 bombs, showing confidence from the start. I mean, absolutely can agree. Now, you did get
Uh,
high noon towards your first attacking round over there in the Dorado in the last stage of that
oh, I
payload
got
push.
high nooned a lot.
You got high nooned a lot, very much so a targeted player, and you eventually did make the switch over to Tracer, and were successful on that as well, showing you aren't a one-trick pony. Do you like having to switch off Echo, or is that like last-ditch effort?
Okay, I don't think Echo is a very hard character, and I like playing Hanzo the most. I'm not very good at Tracer, but I felt like it was the best choice there, so I just swapped, and it seemed to work out.
That it did, exceptionally so. We saw some very good plays from you there, and just overall very good plays from Florida Atlantic. You guys come through. Have you ever faced off against Missouri Baptist, watched VODs of them before, or anything like that?
No.
So came in swinging from the get-go and winning it out. So congratulations there. I'll lead it over to my friend here, Unicorn.
Yeah, congratulations indeed. Now, talking about the meta and kind of where we are right now, I want to first of all give it up to your main tank that you were just doing with. It felt like the entire series, Mario Blue,
Oh
absolutely
yeah.
popping off on the Winston, popping off on the Wrecking Ball on Blizzard World Attack there. So speaking of Blizzard World Attack, I want to kind of run through what seemed like, and hopefully I'm correct. Hopefully you guys aren't just so cracked that you immediately had that synergy right off the bat, but it looked extremely practiced. It looked like that ball rolls in there, goes for the slam, forces out resources, and then those resources that are forced on him, whether it's a sleep, whether it's a discord, that leaves you with the room to really come in on that echo and clean up like we saw in that 4K on Blizzard World. Was that kind of the idea going into a variety of these maps, or where was you guys' head at?
Yeah, the idea is that our either monkey or ball goes in with Zarya bubble, makes space, does a lot of damage for me and Yafi to go in and just sort of clean up, do a lot more damage. But what ended up happening is that Mario was just able to do a lot more than we expected him to. He did, he did really well with the space he was given, and it just worked out really well. So we did
And
practice Blizzard World a lot, but the only thing that wasn't practiced was the Bastion. That was a bit on the whim.
And it's strange because I mentioned on cast that it almost seemed like it was practice because in that comp where you have so many of these mobile heroes, Bastion kind of acts almost like a makeshift Reinhardt, right? He becomes that anchor and he becomes what teams look at as far as focusing is concerned. But instead, you're all over the place popping off on the echo. So what seemed like it was a practice thing, I guess, just on a whim switch, like you mentioned, but it definitely worked out. And speaking of worked out, I got to give credit to Yafi, like you mentioned. So much of Mario Blue being able to pop off were those EMPs and the hacks being able to follow him into that backline, like we saw in Dorado Street's face.
Yeah, yeah, Yafi got some big EMPs on Dorado.
Definitely, definitely. Well, anything else you want to say here? Anybody you want to shout out? Any clout you want to throw for the incoming teams that you're going to be facing?
No, not really. I mean, I think we played really well today. I think we'll play pretty well in the future.
Definitely, definitely. Looking good so far for sure. Oh, one last question. Dunzo came in with a Death Blossom high ground on Dorado. Was your crouch button just broken? Were you testing it out? What was happening right there?
It, it, it was a questionable play, and then I was so startled by what happened, my finger slipped onto my crouch button a
Gotcha.
few times.
Tactical crouch. Tactical crouch.
Happens to the best of us. Just a quick finger slip 4 or 5 times. Happens to the
Yeah,
best of us.
yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, Godzo, been nothing but a pleasure. There is anyone you want to shout out, feel free to do so now. I'm sure your team is riding high on this W. I'll let you go back and celebrate.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, yeah, I think our best player today was Mario. He really popped off.
Agreed. Yeah, I think he was absolutely nutty on that Winston, on that wrecking ball. Definitely took it to the other team and was a nuisance to deal with for sure.
Mhm.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it so much. Have a good rest of your night. Once again, congratulations on that win.
Yep, thank you.
Now, looking at that type of match was just such a joy to watch at that level of play. Like, where can we find more things at that level of play, Unicorn?
I mean, I think we've got to look just to the rest of the games that the NECC is going to be able to provide, right? We're jumping in immediately with one in about 30 minutes. Here, right at 11, we have two more stellar teams that are going to compete, and I think we're just going to see the same thing over and over again throughout these seasons. Tonight it's Godzo, and then tomorrow night it's whatever DPS can pop off. Then it's another crazy Zenyatta like we saw earlier tonight. We're just going to have to see what this tournament has to provide as far as pop off players are concerned and really star potential. And maybe we'll come out with an MVP for the entire season at the end of this. And we may not have to look too far after that performance from Godzo tonight.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I absolutely can't agree more. You're going to see this, and unfortunately, NECC can't go every single day. So unfortunately, you can't get that filled. But I tell you what does go every single day. That's ESTV. That's the first ever dedicated channel for esports and gaming personality. It's the first channel devoted to 24/7 esport coverage.
24/7?
24/7, that's
I can't
correct.
believe
And you
it.
can find it on all of your OTT platforms: Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Samsung TV Plus, Sling TV, and Vizio Free Watch. You can find this everywhere. Find the world's top gaming networks and do it all. And if you want to learn more, go ahead and go to www.estv.com. Now, NECC may not be available every single day for Overwatch, but ESTV sure as heck is. And thank you very much, ESTV, for the sponsorship.
Absolutely. And if you want to see more of our beautiful faces, I'm sure it's running 24/7 over there because I don't know what else they have going on besides this. It's the best thing
What could
going
be
on, in my
greater than
opinion.
this, right?
I'm
Like,
telling, right? You can't beat it. You can't beat it. Speaking of beating it, Florida Atlantic popped off tonight. Absolutely killed it.
absolutely.
I mean, I want to see more of them. I want to see them come in, whether it be next week, the week after. I want to get more cash from them and really see what a really practiced team looks like. Once again, from a coaching perspective, super impressive. It looks like they really got things going and then were able to capitalize on slight positional mistakes that MBU continued to make. And they just seemed so, as you mentioned, apparent throughout the entirety of the series because slight positional mistakes turn into an entire fight if you let it snowball to there.
Yeah, and I definitely being able to cast back-to-back matches like this, Becker College going into 3-0 route against Central Methodist University, and now Florida Atlantic going into 3-0 route against Missouri Baptist. I want to see the Becker College and Florida Atlantic bout. I want to see them face
Right?
off now. Both of them capable of a 3-0 bout. Both of them doing exceptionally well. The only difference I can noticeably see was that Becker College took longer to finish off, and they actually had to go all the way to the third point there on Dorado, unlike Florida Atlantic. So is it Missouri Baptist isn't as good or is not as good as Central Methodist University, or is it the other way around? Is just Florida Atlantic that darn good? And I want to see that matchup. And just a note to whoever's designing that and setting up the schedule me. So whenever
I
that
think
just
that's
comes
kind of
through.
I think that's the beauty of the beginning of the season, right? Is that all these teams are on an equal playing field. And then as the season moves on, you get to see these teams move forward and really pop off, like we've mentioned, to where by week 3, week 4, maybe you can really solidify your spot as a team and say, hey, I'm here to go to finals. I know these other teams are impressive. They're all good. MBU performed well in certain aspects tonight. Once again, slight mistakes were snowballed and exploited to an extent that it made them look like they were just kind of not the same as Florida Atlantic by the end of it. But we're going to see a variety of teams do that. Take it to equally as impressive teams, but maybe one map is a lot more practice than the other. And if those maps end up working in your favor, that's what creates a 3-0. We'll just have to see here. At NECC, I'm excited, and we're just getting started with the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes teams that lose, maybe the teams that have lost today, they'll come through, change what they need to do. Maybe this was the wake up
Exactly.
call. They come through and go,
Exactly.
we made mistakes, progress forward onward. Maybe they haven't had the environment to have these things. Maybe they treat it like a scrim. They progress and learn, and they'll be monsters by the end of this NECC season. But, we'll have to see how it goes. My name has been Infernocious. I've been joined here by Unicorn. Love to cast with you. And this has been a very fun time, but we're going to have to, send it over, go through a bit of a break before the next matchup as it's Fresno State 1 versus UC Davis 1. We'll catch you guys in a short little break.